Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the Looks Like On podcast. This is the first conversation we've had with Tina Alexander on the Looks Like On podcast. She is someone who experienced a kind of awakening moment during the time of her mother's death, and even earlier in her life, at the time of her father's death. There's something about death that has triggered her into looking within, and so this is her story. So, hi everybody. So, for all our listeners, this is Tina Alexander. We met in a Facebook group, and actually, I've had several conversations now with people in Facebook groups, and it's usually been about spirituality, psychology, and self-development. So, thank you so much for coming today, Tina.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
So, I remember you mentioned you had like a spiritual awakening moment sometime in your life.
Yes, it started in 2012, March of 2012. I was up north holding my mother to her last breath as she was dying. And when that happened, I had a spontaneous awakening of my third eye, the pineal gland, which I didn't even know what a pineal gland was at the time. And when I came back to Florida, where I live, every time I would close my eyes, I would start seeing these I'd start seeing this purple coming through in my eyes with electricity going through it. And after oh, every time I would close my eyes, I thought I was going crazy with this purple coming in. And then after a while, it turned into a big purple eye with long eyelashes, and it would wink at me. And
Whoa.
I really thought I was going crazy. And my friend, who's a professor, when I met him one day, I was telling him about it, and he goes, "Oh, your pineal gland opened up." And I was like, "What? I don't even know. I didn't even know what the pineal gland was. I knew of the third eye, and I always thought that the third eye was just for like Buddhas and people of higher frequencies. I didn't realize that just a normal person like me could have something like that happen."
Mm.
And it's just been this incredible journey since 2012. That's when the shift took place on the planet, and we were all starting to wake up at that point in time.
Wow. And before that happened, had you been doing any like research on spirituality or had anything spiritual
Yeah.
in your life before that?
Yes, at age 30, my dad died, and I started reading all kinds of books on the soul. I was reading like Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, just all kinds of people that were spiritual. Carolyn Miss. There were a lot of authors that I started reading to um, seek. I was seeking because I always say that my father's death gave me the gift of soul searching. So it was like just a deep journey of going down the rabbit hole. But then in 2012, when my mom died, it catapulted me to the other side of the veil. And I have this gift of being able to see. I'm a seer. So when I meditate, I go into the state of consciousness where it's like a movie for me. And it shows me, like, if I have friends that are struggling in this life, their loved ones will come to me and give me messages to give to them to help them to get unstuck on their path.
Mm.
So it's really quite a beautiful gift. And then I was led to the plant medicines from in 2012. I read about the plant medicines. I stumbled upon them, and I was shown the word ayahuasca, and I didn't even know how to spell or pronounce the word. And so I did all kinds of research and read books on it. And then in 2016, I finally drank the medicine, and the medicine told me that my gift was my throat chakra. She was like, "You have the ability to speak," and she showed me that I was going to be doing podcasts and writing a book. But I was like, "Podcast? I don't know anything technical. I don't know how to do this," and I just didn't believe it. and now, in this last year, I've been doing several podcasts. I haven't reached out to anybody to do them. They've been coming to me to ask me to do these. So I believe that this is just divine timing for
Mhm.
it all to be coming about.
And in those previous podcasts, has it been like this same topic, like your awakening?
Yeah, yeah. It's about the awakening in human emotions, learning to go through any emotion that arises, and instead of pushing it away, let yourself feel the emotion. Like example, I went to go see a friend yesterday who's dying, and or on Sunday, and then yesterday I woke up and I was feeling really, really sad and blue. So I allowed myself to cry for like an hour, just get that emotion out, and then the rest of the day I felt better. But we as a society have been taught to not feel our emotions, especially men. Poor men, they have been their only emotions that they were allowed to feel were or taught to feel was rage and anger, and no sensitivity whatsoever. And it's starting to change. I
Mhm.
think more and more men are starting to wake up to the fact that, hey, I'm no we're all masculine and feminine. We have both in our DNA, and that we're supposed to embrace all of that within us. And I see more and more men are starting to embrace the fact that it's okay to cry, right? And
Mhm.
to feel that emotion when it comes about.
Mhm. By any chance, do you practice Reiki?
I did do the Reiki 1, 2, and 3. My husband and I both did the training on it, but we don't really practice it.
Ah, okay.
I and I'm very familiar with it. I've been teaching people how to go into this to get a connection with their higher self. It's really like a technique where you just lay on your bed and I put on a freak. Are you familiar with the frequencies?
I mean, I've heard of
The
them, but I don't know how to use them actually.
the theta beta, they're on YouTube,
Uh-huh.
and they're it's like music that comes on. It's and when you lay there and you allow yourself to surrender into the music when it comes on, it takes you into a deeper state of consciousness, and you're able to. I always tell people when I take them in, just surrender, only allow entities of love and light, and then surrender and let your thoughts roll like a movie. And when you're in and if you get stuck on a particular emotion, if you don't want to see it right then and there, you can push it away and say, I'm not ready to see that. But if you are ready to see it, it's usually a darker emotion that you get stuck on. And then I learned to say, if you're here to teach me something for my higher good, then show me. If not, then get out. Because entities, once you go in that space, you open up a portal, and entities can come in, and good and bad, and you just have to be in control and know when you know that you're the light, absolutely nothing can come in and try to create it. Usually when it comes in, it's just your own fears. What I have learned whenever I was going down to going elevating to another level, a big fear would come in, and then I was taught, like, oh, that's just my own fears of wanting me, of being afraid to go into the next level, to the deeper level, because it takes me down. When I go in there, I go down like a rabbit. They call it the rabbit hole.
Mm.
I never knew what the rabbit hole was. I watched that film Alice in Wonderland, and I didn't get that back then. But since my awakening, I totally understand going down the rabbit hole. When I go down it I have that ability to go out to the universe. And when I am out there, it's taken me to a lot of my past lives. I had like one where I was a witch. I was in Paris, France, and they had burned me as a witch because they didn't like the books that I wrote. So they burned my books, and then they burned me. And then I had another one where I was a Tibetan monk. I was an abbot, and I was on a donkey, and I fell off the Himalayan mountains, and then I went to my death in that. But that started in 2014, before I was even really heavily meditating. I after my mom died, I was waking up in the middle of the night at like 3 a.m. and I started writing. My hand was just automatically writing. And my husband would come out and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I go, "I have no idea. My hand was just moving." And it was going that way for like several months. It kept waking me up and I'd have to get out and just start writing. And then when I was done, I had written about 7 different lives. And I told my husband, I go, "I know you're going to think I'm nuts." I go, "But I know that I was those people. I knew it without a doubt." And so my belief in reincarnation is totally without a doubt that we come back onto this and we come back into earth. And I know that, we're here, you're here, we're here for this grand awakening that's happening on the planet. There are so many people that are starting to wake up, and people like you and I are going to be helping the ones that are 2025. There's going to be millions of people that are starting to wake up and question their existence. And then there's going to be people like us that are going to help guide them to take those steps toward their own awakening process. We're not here to be like their gurus or anything, but we're
Mm.
just here to help them go to their next step of their evolution. And it's happening big time, and it's pretty exciting to be here on this earth at this moment in time. You agree?
Definitely. And I feel I've been praying to meet these people, so I'm really excited to meet them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're one of them. You're one of them, Nick. You're here to um, orchestrate the these kind of conversations, because the more people start hearing them on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, wherever they're being posted, it helps them because they're seeking. We're all starting to, seek more and more and more and more. But the truth is, all the information that you're ever going to want or need is inside you. And the way you get that information is by getting silent. And when you get silent, the voice, I've had the voice for over 8 years now. It's a direct communication of being spoken to and guided on navigating in this life in the third D.
Would you call that voice, like, would you label it as intuition?
Um, I always called it God, because I heard, like in 2012 in the middle of the night when I woke up, I um I heard the voice so loud and clear, and it said, "Trust in the process of life." It was so loud I woke up my husband. I was like, "Did you hear that?" And he was like, "No." And I told him what was said to me. And then the next night, the voice came again, and it was, "Take a leap of faith." So but I could call it now my intuition, my higher self. But all I know is that it's like this direct line of communication, and it's the best gift you'll ever give yourself, because when you start getting that, you're able to go through this daily life on planet Earth in 3D. Well, and we're shifting into 5D, but um, I've been in the eighth dimension for a long time. Mother Ayahuasca showed me that I was in the eighth dimension. At the time, I didn't even know what dimensions were. But when we go into that fifth dimension, we lead with our hearts rather than our linear minds. And I've been a when I was a child, I was an empathic child. I was always the type that my mother said that I wore my heart on my sleeve. So I was very always in touch with emotions and feeling my emotions. So it's like being able to go through this process and just know that you're being guided. And when you do get the silence once a day, I do it twice a day. But and could do it more, because it's a lot. It's fun being in it's fun being in that state of consciousness, because it's so beautiful. But the work is here on planet Earth, so we have to have that balance of being in the astral plane and then being on Earth. And I was told that my work is here on planet Earth, and that I have to stay grounded. So I have to get out in nature like a lot to get my feet on the earth, because I like that lofty feeling of being out there. I've had the astral travel a lot, and then I've had the OBEs, the out of body experience, twice,
Mm.
where I'm laying on my bed. I'm laying out of my bed, and I can see my body lift, but I'm attached to that silver cord. It's a beautiful, beautiful feeling, and I've only had that feeling twice. So I'm just very in touch with the communication of spirits that come in and communicate with me. And the rule of thumb is when you're inside that space and you open that portal, if it feels good and whatever you're being told and it feels good, then do it. If it doesn't feel right with you, it doesn't resonate with your soul, then don't do it. Because there are tricksters that can come in and try and trick us when we're in there, but when you know that you are the light, absolutely nothing can overtake you. I have had one experience where it was our deceased friend who came in, and he wanted me to feel something his wife was feeling, his wife that's alive, and he wanted to take over my whole body. And I was like, no, you can't do that. You're
Whoa.
not allowed to do that. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. And so he didn't do it because I was in control enough to know that I wasn't going to allow anybody to overtake my whole body, because I'm aware when I'm in there. I'm very aware that I'm on my bed, but I'm also out there. I have
Uh-huh.
the connection of still being on my bed. I don't let it go completely.
Wait, so this like can we call it a spirit? Like the that tried to enter
Yeah.
your body? Like did
Hmm.
this spirit like actually attempt to do it and then you had to tell him like, hey, stop?
Yeah. And I know who the guy is. He's been a lifetime friend of ours, but I just couldn't let him. He wanted me to get a point across about him and his wife, and but I just couldn't let him do that, because you never let anyone take over your whole body. That's not allowed in my with me. It's not allowed with me. So it
Uh,
depends on the person. If you want someone to take, I don't know if you remember a lady. I think her name is Jane Roberts. She channeled Seth. She used to let him take over her whole body,
uh,
and it's exhausting when you let them take over the whole body. You really, in my opinion, you shouldn't do that, because it's too exhausting, and you have to. It's just stressful to have that energy. It zaps your energy, so I don't allow it.
have you heard of this guy named Bashar?
Oh yes, yeah, Daryl. Uh-huh.
So what is he doing? Because he says he's channeling an alien or something, but like what's going on with
Yeah.
him?
It, everybody has their guides that they're channeling. We're all star seeds, whether you know it or not. You're a star seed, and I was shown that I am from Pleiades. I'm Palladian, and I was shown that I that they will be the ones that will be channeling the book through me. So, you know, I don't know if you know what star system you're from. Do you happen to know that?
One of my friends told me, and I can look it up right now, actually, if you give me a second.
Okay.
My friends
Um,
told me because I have no idea, but just give me 1 second. Shout
I
out
wonder if
to
it was Syrian.
let me see. Oh my
If
God.
you,
I hope this comes up. Yo, oh my God. How did you said star seed, right? Or something?
yeah, star seed. We're all star seeds,
Oh my gosh.
and more people are going to start waking up to the fact that they are. And there's going to be people that aren't going to want to tap into this at all.
Okay, so
Did you find out what you are?
tell me what this means. She says that I am Arcturian starseed.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So,
Arcturian.
so
Yeah.
what does that mean?
All I know about Arcturians is that they're just up from another. They're from another galaxy, and
Uh,
that we're like they say, we're all from another star system. And I was shown. I didn't know anything about the Pleiades, at all. In 2017, my Kundalini activated while I was meditating on my bed. It activated up to my third eye. And then I was told that, and I had planned a trip to go to Mount Shasta. My husband and I were going to Mount Shasta. And when my Kundalini opened up to the third eye, I was told that the crown chakra would open up when I got to Mount Shasta. And we went to Mount Shasta. We went into the forest, and I felt this energy over my forehead, and I knew that my crown was activating. So the whole Kundalini had awakened in my body, and I had heard of the Kundalini, but again, those are things that I thought only like really deep spiritual people got. And I am very spiritual, but in the beginning, I was very religious first. I was raised Catholic, and I taught catechism for 14 years.
Wow.
So I was very much in the religious box, but yet I had a spiritual side to me. And now I really realize that God is right with me when I'm on my bed meditating. God is with me when I'm in nature. God is with me when I'm driving. God is with me no matter where I am. I don't have to be in a building or a church to have God within. We're
Uh-huh.
all, uh, as Jesus said, the kingdom of God is inside you.
Right.
And once I came to that realization, I didn't have the need to be in a church anymore. And I love the Catholic faith. And I'm very grateful for being raised with a religion and being taught about God and Jesus Christ. I'm grateful for that upbringing, but I just don't feel that I need it in my life anymore.
Uh-huh. Plus, it feels like the religion itself was created by people who were not on this path. I mean, I don't know. I kind of get that feeling from it.
Yeah, they wanted to control us. And they wanted to control us, and they wanted to stifle the God within us. And we are these beautiful human beings, and we have been so programmed to be in a state of fear and not recognizing our own inner light. I always say in 2012 that I remembered who I was. I remembered who I was. And at that point I started to recognize the light within me. And I realized that a lot of times I let other people dim my light. And after 2012, it was like, no one will ever dim my light again. You either, and what I would do is come down to their frequency. And once I saw my light up here, I realized you either come up here and meet me up here, or you just ease yourself out of my life, because I don't let myself get dimmed anymore by others. And I
Mhm.
didn't even realize at the time, I didn't even realize that's what was going on, because I was so naive to this awakening process. But I will say it's the most beautiful thing that you can ever want to do is tap into your soul.
Right.
Do you have a question?
There's just so many. Like, oh my God. I'm sure we'll have to have like multiple conversations, but like, um, first I want to say thank you to my friend Nikki for telling me about this Arcturian starseed that I still don't
Mm-hmm.
know really anything about. I have to look it up. Before I ask you this question, I want to say shout out to my bro Raphael because we always talk about this. You mentioned the 3D, and my friend
Yeah.
Raphael and I, we were constantly trying to figure out what are the dimensions? Like what is 2D, 3D, 4D? Like what is this stuff?
Well, from what I understand, the 3D is the reality that we're living in the on planet Earth. And four is where all the that's usually like where the reptilians are, the what are they called? The reptilians, the people from the like the politicians and the ones that control the world. They're desperately trying to keep us from going to the 5D. And the 5D is where we all start to operate from the heart rather than from the brain. And
Uh-huh.
once you start operating from the heart, you're in 5D. It's just a state of consciousness. It's not really
Uh,
like it's just a state of consciousness and knowing. Whenever you when you look at somebody, and I've always had this ability, when I look at somebody, I can see their hurt, I feel their hurts and their pains. And I've always had that, given them the benefit of the doubt. They can be the meanest, rudest person, and I can always see that it stems from some sort of hurt that they've had as a child or whatever. So my heart would always want to be nice and be kind to them, and I'm still nice and kind to them. It's just that now I don't allow them in my Merkavik field, my energetic field. I don't let them in my field very long anymore because they're draining. They call these people energy vampire suckers, whatever,
Yeah.
something like that. They call them, and for me, it's like I have to just keep them at a distance. I don't want them in my life anymore, but yet I still love and respect them.
Uh-huh.
That's when you're in the 5D, you don't look at someone and criticize them. You look at them and you see something beautiful in them because they're a reflection. When I look at you, I see a beautiful soul, but it's a reflection of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And recognizing that when we see something in someone that we don't like, recognizing ourselves, like, okay, what in myself needs to change? What has to change within me? Because I'm seeing that reflection. And it's a beautiful gift to be in that dimension. And I don't really know much more about. I know there's like a lot of dimensions, and in fact, I just bought a couple books, a reading about the alchemy of the ninth dimension, the 12th dimension. But I did read in 2009. I bought a book at a metaphysical store. It was called Cryon. It was a blue cover with the world on it, and I grabbed this. I was so compelled to buy this book. I bought it, and it was on my bedstand for 3 years. I didn't read the book. And in 2012, after my mom died, I picked that book up and I read it. It was volume number 9 of the Cryon book by Lee Carroll. And I read that book, and everything in that book resonated with my soul. And so I went back and bought the first 8 volumes of his books, and I read all of those. He's got like 18 books now. I think I've read up to 15 of his books. And he is what they call the magnetic master. And if you read his books, you'd truly get what the awakening process is about. And his books helped me go through. I went through the dark night of the soul of in 2018 to 2019 for 14 months on and off. I was going through the dark night of the soul, which is a very deep, intense process of clearing out all your old hurts from childhood. Mine weren't really real bad, the ones that I had to clear out, but you have to clear out all your old um, hurts in this lifetime, and then you have to clear out all your karmic stuff from past lives. And when you do that, you're able to you come into this light body, and that's where we're going to. We're going to be into our light bodies, and it's more freeing to your body when you've eliminated all your hurts. I have just simple things like one of my brothers, when I was in 5th grade, he called me stupid. And that stuck with me all my life. And I didn't realize it, though. I didn't realize it. And then when I looked at that, I saw that it hurt at the time because I was just a child when I heard that. No one wants to hear they're stupid. And I was a reader of books all the time. And what that happened was it catapulted me to start reading other kind of books, like self-help books. I was very young at reading a lot of good books, but now I look at my brother and I thank him for saying that, because he was a instrument that catapulted me in a different direction. You know what I'm saying? That it made me start to seek more loving stuff toward myself and not make myself stupid. And that's probably why I read so much, is because I have a lot of knowledge, but now the knowledge has turned into wisdom, and it's time to share the wisdom with others.
Can you tell people what is the difference between knowledge and wisdom?
Knowledge is just having the the know-how of the the knowledge of reading the book and having the information, and the wisdom is applying the information. You apply it.
So knowledge is like memorization, and then
Yeah,
wisdom actually using it.
putting it to use. You put it to use. And I was specifically told, I went a period of about, I would say, 7 or 8 years of not reading because I was told to stop reading and tap into the wisdom that was within me. And we all have that wisdom within us. Any past life that you've ever had is in your DNA cellular structure. And when you tap into that by getting silent, that information will come out. And it's just the simplest thing. I tell people, just get silent for an hour a day. Just ask. This is what I say. I say, God within, show me what I need to see today with clarity and tell me what I need to hear. And when I say that, then the movie starts to roll and
Whoa.
it becomes most people when they meditate, they think that they have to go to this place of nothingness. That's not what it's about for me whatsoever. It's about the communication that is there in the movie and letting it be.
Hmm.
And it's a beautiful thing to be able to do that. My
Uh-huh.
husband does it as well. We do it together.
That's
We
awesome.
did the plant medicines together. Yeah, we did the plant medicines
Oh,
together. It took him a while to get on board, because it was like when I was going through the dark night of the soul, it was very, very difficult because he wasn't understanding what I was going through. And I knew that he either had to vibrate with me or vibrate out. And I thank God that he decided he wanted to vibrate with me. I told him, I go, the only thing I'm asking you to do is meditate with me 1 hour a day. That's all. And now he loves it. Once he got the connection, he started to just love it as well. And so, it's really nice to have someone to do the meditations with, because the power, like the power of prayer, um, one or more is way powerful. It's powerful to have two people doing it at the same time, but you can do it on your own as well.
I feel like you and your husband are so lucky to have each other. Like he has your back, or he's had your back during this whole process. And then I'm sure he's learned so much
He
from you.
has. Well, he's learned from me, and I've learned from him. But it's funny, like he'll say a word or say something that will make me do something else, and it's like he's like my teacher in a sense um, that he's not even realizing it when he tells me something. Like example, this woman that we used to see, she's a myofascial release. And when I met her, my eye had just opened up. But when I met her, I thought, oh my gosh, she was so esoteric that I really didn't get her. And we had some treatments with her. And then like last year, my husband was like, I think we need to find this lady again. And so I reached out like on her phone, no answer. Then I reached out on Facebook and she gets in touch with me. Come to find out she's now a quantum healer. And I've had many sessions with her. And now I totally get her. I totally get her. But I wasn't ready for her when I had first gone to see her, because she was too
Mhm.
I wasn't at that frequency that she was on. She was at a much higher frequency than me. And
Mhm.
now I'm on the same frequency with her. I get her. So it's
Awesome.
kind of it's a journey, and this journey is all about seeking into our soul. That's why we're here on planet Earth, is to dig within ourselves and not be distracted by all the stuff that's going on out here in the universe, like with the politics and anything the media can do to distract you, they're going to do it, and it's
Yeah.
not in your best interest. So I don't. I turned off the media about 28 years ago, because it overwhelmed me for one, and once I realized it was overwhelming me, I shut it off. I stopped reading. I don't let myself get distracted about the things that they're trying to promote the fear in. anytime I recognize that it's fear-based, I don't buy into it anymore. And
Mm,
that's the beauty of being able to sit when you sit with your fears, your own biggest fears that you have. Once you're able to release those, you don't buy into anybody else's fear.
exactly.
That's the key, and not being afraid. I'm a pretty courageous woman when it would come to going into my fears. I found that once I allowed myself to sit with my fears and go through it, it dissipates, and it doesn't last long at all. Like one fear that I had that came in a lot was loneliness. I have no children. My husband's 9 years older than me, and I have no family here in Florida, and so that loneliness was coming in, and I was, but I allowed myself to look at it, and I really actually appreciated that fear of loneliness because it made me look at, like, okay, how would I do this if he wasn't here helping me do all these things in our house? How am I going to handle that? How would I do this? So I appreciated the fear coming in. It doesn't come in anymore because I've allowed myself to look it in the face. Most people don't want to talk about, death and what you're going to do if your loved one dies. And so it's a matter of just being courageous enough to go beyond your fears.
Yeah. And just how you said, like when you face your own fears and you can see exactly when somebody is trying to trigger fear in you for their own agenda or whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can see exactly when it's happening.
It is the truth. I recognize when someone has an agenda. Someone told me a long time ago, years ago, she was like, Tina, she goes, you don't have an agenda. And I was like, wow, you're right. I don't have an agenda when I'm with somebody. And I ask a lot of questions because I'm a marketer in my day job. So I'm used to asking a lot of questions. But when I ask somebody a question, it's because I really care. I don't really have like, oh, what can they give me or what can I get back from them? I don't do things with an agenda. But you'll find as you awaken, there's a lot of people that have an agenda. And I can't I recognize now when someone is lying. It's like I don't call them out on it, but I take note that you're lying to me right now, and I know it. But I've always had that ability. I just never I never voiced it, that I had that ability, that I could tell when you're lying. And
Uh-huh.
so I those are gifts that open as you awaken. Those are gifts that open up within you, and you just know when someone's lying to me now. I just kind of like, all right, and I listen to them, and then I just really like kind of keep them at a distance. I don't want those type of people in my life anymore that have to lie over silly little things.
Uh-huh.
So I'm selective in who I allow in my field. You have to be selective
Mm.
as time goes on. You just
I want to ask you about your Dark Night of the Soul. Like
you
how how did it feel
yes, yeah.
once it was over?
Um, it was beautiful once it was over, but as I was going through it, I was like, there was a lot of crying for days, lots of fears coming in. I remember at one point when the loneliness was coming in, I called my two of my sisters crying, and I'm like, I don't know what I would do if Steve goes before me. I'm all alone, and I was just like freaked out. I was so freaked out about it. But it it's just an intense journey that you have to let yourself go through it, because it's part of the awakening process. It doesn't have to be as intense as mine was, but you have to be able to allow yourself to look at whatever fears are there. And we all have fears because we've been so programmed. We've been so programmed with media, movies. Look at the movies and the fear that they try to create. I don't watch films anymore that want to create the fear in me. And I did have the fear of, I had the fear of the devil and Satan. And I didn't realize how deeply embedded that fear was within me. And on my 30th ayahuasca journey, I hadn't gone down for a year and a half, and I was called to go down to drink the medicine, my 30th journey, and face that fear. And I knew that I had to go down there. My soul was telling me, you have to go down there and you have to look at that fear. And when I got down there and I laid in the medicine, I was laying on my side in the medicine, but I was up here seeing my body down here on my side, and all the demons and the devils were coming in. And I don't know how long I was on my back or on my side, but at some point I rolled over and said, I am the fucking light. And when I did that, Mother Ayahuasca showed me, she said, that darkness, Tina, that demon, the devil that you had right here was just a ball of energy that you were feeding. I was feeding it. And once I realized that, once she showed me that the devil and the demons went down back to the Middle Earth. And ever since then, I haven't had any fear. And when I came back home in my stillness, it was about a month after my journey down there. After that, I was guided to watch a film that I had watched years ago called Stigmata.
Ooh, I love that
And
movie.
I watched that film, and it's usually not, well, it's usually I loved it too, but it usually was not a type of film I would watch because I was such a chicken, and I watched it to the end, and but at that point in time, I didn't get the message. And so when I was guided to watch the film, well, we were going to watch it again before all the medicines. And my husband and I were watching it, and halfway through, he goes, I'm going to bed. And I go, well, I'm going to bed too. I wouldn't watch the rest of it without him sitting with me because I was so afraid. So when I was guided back to get that film and watch it again, what I realized, what I had missed in that film was that Jesus said, the kingdom of God is inside you. I had missed that message in that beautiful film. Now it's one of my favorite films. You like it as well?
I hadn't thought about that
Did you
final
say you like
message.
that film as well?
Yeah, because I mean, I used to love scary
Yeah.
movies. But that final message, I didn't really think much about it until you just mentioned it right now. It's like, damn, yeah, they did say that. Like, I think they quoted like Saint
Twice.
Francis of Assisi or something. Like, but I love that movie because I
Yeah,
watched it with my
Francis of
family.
Assisi.
I watched that with my dad and my brother so many times.
Rewatch it. We rewatch it because you'll hear that message, and you'll hear the guy that's in the church talking to the priest, and he says, we don't need these walls, meaning that you didn't need to be in the church, that the kingdom of God is right here inside all of us. And once you recognize it, it's such a beautiful gift, such a beautiful gift. We are such beautiful beings, and we've been taught since birth that we're sinners. We're
Yeah,
not sinners, not
true.
sinners. We're taught that so that they can keep us in formation, keep us in line and in control.
Yeah,
That's why we're taught from birth. And our parents, they put us into religion because they loved us, and that's what they knew. That's what they knew.
yeah.
That's what they were taught. But now since 2012, more and more people are realizing, no, I'm not a sinner. I'm not this evil person. I'm this beautiful light being, and it's a gift.
Like my family is from Peru, and it kind of
Oh, awesome.
surprises me that like in Latin America, like it seems that people forgot that Christianity was brought by the colonizers. It's kind of like we just forgot that
Yeah, yeah.
and we've just continued it like if it was our own tradition, but it's not. It was imported.
It was imported, and the Peruvians are ancient. They have such. I did see in a past life that I was an Inca. I was Inca in Peru.
Sick.
Mother Ayahuasca had showed me that I was in Peru. I lived in Peru many, many, many times. I had past lives there, and that I had been a shaman that administered the ayahuasca medicine, and that's why it called me back, because that's what I had done in a past life. She actually took me down the Amazon and took me to my village to show me where I lived in my
Whoa.
hut. I had gone to Peru. We went to Peru in 2016, worked with some shamans in Peru. We were going to drink the medicine, but it didn't happen because the shaman didn't show up. And then we went back to Peru again in October of 2016 before I actually drank the medicine. But I never drank the medicine there. I ended up drinking it in Florida, South Florida.
Wow.
It's a church. It's where they serve the medicine legally. So you're not like, like if you're going to do the medicines, you want to be in a place where you're being watched over and you trust the people that are administering the
Oh
medicines.
yeah.
I've done I have done mushroom medicines a few times, which is a beautiful medicine. And I also have done a medicine called Bufo Oliveris. It's a frog medicine. And I was called to that medicine. I thought I was going to have to go to Mexico to drink to do that medicine. You don't drink it, you smoke it. And I ended up meeting a shaman at my local park who had been administering Bufo for 6 years. And I knew that God brought him right back, brought him right to my doorstep. And I was like, I know God brought you to me. And I scheduled 3 sessions with this shaman who he's phenomenal. And when I first did that medicine, you go out of body, you take a 10-second puff. And my husband came with me because he's such a good supporter. He came with me because you do go out of body. And I
Whoa.
went straight up to the white light and then into a state of being. And when I came out of that medicine, I knew the connection to the oneness of the universe, the oneness to all of us. Such a beautiful, profound medicine that um, and I know it's not for everybody. So many people are fearful of these kind of medicines, but I can't tell you the peace that I have now of death because I went straight to death, and it was so beautiful. But I will say this: a month before I actually did that medicine, in my stillness, in my meditations, it was showing me how in ayahuasca you just kind of are eased into the other realms, and with mushrooms you're eased into it. Even with THC, one puff of the THC, you're eased into it. And they showed me that when I do the bufo, that I'm going to go straight up. And so I was very prepared when I did that medicine that what was going to happen to me. And they gave me the word bra, and I was like, bra. And they go, yeah, is breathe, relax, and allow. And once I did
Ooh.
that, wow, it was so beautiful to be able to surrender to that medicine. My shaman did tell me that not everybody has that beautiful of a journey, but it's because I had already cleared out all my darkness.
Uh-huh.
You have to clean out your darkness no matter what medicines you're doing. The mushrooms are great ones to do that as well, as long as you have the intention of wanting to do that physical and emotional healing. You have to want to do that. And not everybody wants to dig in and look at all their hurts and their past traumas.
Mm.
It's such a
Like if only they knew the benefits of it, then they would do it, I guess, right?
I know. Yeah. Well, more and more people, the VA hospital is starting to administer mushrooms for PTSD. They're starting to administer ketamine, which is they inject you with that. I'm more about all the organic medicines, the ones that come from the earth. The ketamine is, it's a drug of some sort that I think they use it for when you have surgery. But it's helping all these VAs, and the John Hopkins Hospital was awarded $18 million for mushroom therapy. And
Well,
it's helping that people that are, it helps people with cancer. It helps people that are dying, people that are afraid of dying. Once you see how beautiful, one thing the Bufo taught me was that when you take that last breath, it is the most beautiful surrender of the physical body. It
whoa.
was so freeing that I have no fear of it now. I have no fear. My still my loneliness is the one that I have it at bay right now, but when it crops up, I allow myself to look at that one. But the death for me is not fearful whatsoever. I know it's going to be glorious. It's a glorious thing.
I really wondered
And
what
then we get to go across.
Like I wonder what does loneliness mean to you now after all your awakening experience?
Well, it means getting comfortable, and it's not even loneliness anymore. It's being comfortable being alone. I'm alone a lot with my own company. But I've been with my husband for 49 years, so that's something that you would have to go through that grieving process. And I would allow myself to feel that emotion, but I'm no longer afraid to be alone.
Uh-huh.
I know that I would be okay being alone without a partner.
Uh-huh.
He's my best friend. He's my best friend. We're just so connected. We're attached. And learning what I've learned over the last 12 years is detachment. We have to love, but detach from everything and be willing to let it go. So when the time, if he should go before me, there's no guarantees. I would have to be willing to let him go
Mm.
because I know that I'm going to see him on the other side anyway, and he
Yeah.
and I are going to be like high-fiving each other because we did the work, and we did the work. And I feel like we passed the test, all these tests on planet Earth with flying colors. It's like we've passed the test,
Ah,
and that's what it's about, is learning these. And the test is unconditional love and forgiveness and compassion for all on planet Earth, and
mm,
learning that deep forgiveness. Forgiveness is the key. No matter what someone has done to us, to be able to forgive them. Because when I leave this planet, there is no wall going to be around my heart. And I allow no one to put a wall around my heart because I'm very aware of keeping my heart wide open. Keep it wide open. And when you lead from the heart, everything falls into place for you. Everything.
mm.
What a gift.
Do you think the purpose of life is to find out who we are?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing else. That's the thing I was taught with Bufo, my second journey, was that nothing matters except digging in. And that's what I told my husband. I said, I have to meditate every day and go within. And I would like for you to do that with me. And thank God when he saw me do the Bufo the first time, he wanted to do it right then and there.
Whoa.
And the shaman had another appointment, so he couldn't. So I gave my husband the second appointment. And both times when I did the Bufo the first time, we were at the water, and the dolphin came and swam by, and then it came back and swam by again. And then when my husband was doing it, it was flipping out of the water. The dolphins and the whales hold our Akashic records, and they knew something sacred was going on the beach that day,
Wow.
and they came. It was beautiful to witness that. And my shaman's girlfriend actually got it on film. I have a video of where the dolphin came and swam by, so they know. But that is why we're here. That's the only reason we're here, is to dig in our soul and find. That's how we elevate. The more you dig into your soul, when you come back, every time we've come back in our past lives, we forgot who we were. We forgot. And now, after everything that we're learning since 2012 and until our last breath, we're going to remember that stuff when we come back in the next life, because this shift has happened in 2012. That in itself is a miracle, and we're going to remember at a younger age. Like when I was going through my lonely phase, I was wanting to find more people that were on the path like me. And I asked God, I said, please bring me my tribe. And it took about a year. I found the shaman, and I have another young friend who she's my soul sister, and it's she, him, and I. It's like we form a triangle, and we're all three on this frequency. I know something's going to be happening with the three of us. I don't know what yet, but it's there's something going to be big between the three of us. And I know my shaman has been shown he's going to write a book as well. I have been shown it many, 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 many times, but I still work my day job, so I wasn't really ready to put the pen to the paper, so to speak. Um, I have about a year and a half, 2 years more to work, and then I know that's going to be my next chapter in life. So,
Awesome.
because I could do it now, but it's I could do it now, and if it didn't happen now, I'm okay with that too. But what I'm shown is that I'm saving that because I want something to be doing and be productive in my next phase of life when I'm actually not doing a day job.
Mm.
We all still, most of us still have our day jobs.
What is your day job now?
I am a marketer for an imaging company. So I take a lot of like doctors and attorneys to lunch and convince them to send their patients to our facility for their MRIs
Okay.
and their x-rays. It's a schmoozing job. I've been a marketer for 30 years. No, 38 years. But I at age 30, I found my forte in life. It was speaking speaking. And, once I found that, I feel like I haven't worked a day since age 30 because I love what I do. I
Awesome.
have phenomenal work. My boss is phenomenal, and she just lets me be. And I'm the type of worker that I work harder when I'm not micromanaged.
Same here.
And I think we're all that way when we're better workers when we're not micromanaged. I'm sure there's some people that just don't have any kind of drive, but I've always been a driven kind of person. I'm a, I'm a doer and I get things done.
Mm.
I, I like to get things done.
Like I'm glad that at my
So,
like my
it's,
day job
it's
is
just one of those things.
my day job is teaching English in Vietnamese public schools.
Oh,
And
oh, beautiful.
the cool thing is that like yeah, I don't have to really be managed at my job, so I can pretty much choose how I work every day. So I'm lucky to have that.
You're blessed. You're blessed and your English is really good.
I think because I grew up in Virginia.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I thought you grew up in Peru. I was assuming you grew up in
I
Peru.
don't know. I was born
Can you speak
in
Spanish?
sí, sí hablo.
Uh,
Um,
Okay, where were you born?
I was born in Lima. But when I was about like 2.5 years
Okay,
old,
I've
then
been
we
there.
moved to the US.
Oh, okay, to Virginia. Oh, okay. That's why your English is so good. Can you speak Spanish though?
Sí, sí hablo español.
Un poquito? Oh, okay. I'm doing the Duolingo right now. So,
Cool.
um, okay. Well, I think it's about 8:30 now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely
I
continue.
I we can continue some more. I have a lot of like past life. I would like to share some things with you about the fairies and the
Cool.
forest and all the sacred places that I've been led to. There's a lot that more I could share with you, but at the moment I have to get to work.
Sure, sure. That totally understand. But thank you so much, Tina. We'll definitely be
Yeah.
talking to it again. Take care.
Thank you, Nick. It's been an honor. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.